All right, we'll go straight for sports update now with Aaron. Aaron, how are you doing?
Morning to you, Rufai. Good
Great
morning
to have you,
Doctor.
Aaron the Baron.
Good morning, Aaron.
Doctor, I've sent Aaron the list.
He knows he has outstanding.
It is being reviewed. It is being reviewed.
Doctor,
I don't want to say.
register
I
is
don't want
also
to tell the
being
world
updated.
what you told me.
Okay. I've sent him the register.
No, he already gave an excuse.
Yeah.
Give- what
No,
did he
no worries.
give?
The register is being updated.
Inside baseball, not for TV.
Okay, let's get it started yesterday. A very fantastic win for Manchester United on the road again. As for Pogba, stunner actually sent Manchester United back to the top of the Premier League as they came from behind to beat Fulham after Edison Cavani had cancelled out Ademola Lookman's opener. Like you can actually see on the table there, Manchester United are back on top of the table. Having garnered 40 points from 19 games, and Manchester City are second at the moment. They've played a game less, and they'll be hoping to catch up when they actually equal Manchester United in the number of games played. So for the meantime, Manchester United are first, City second, Leicester third, Liverpool fourth, Spurs fifth, and Everton sixth. Now, moving away from that, talking about their arch rivals Manchester City, Ike Gundogan actually helped them to a crucial win after Bernardo Silva's stunner, which was controversially debated by Aston Villa and their coach, who was even sent off in the game. But ultimately, all that counted was the scoreline after 90 minutes, with Manchester City beating Aston Villa 2-0. Although there are still debates about IFAB's rules and the players' knowledge of some of those rules. We'll be talking about that if time permits us later on. Moving away from that to a stunner of a game. It was the Copa del Rey, and Real Madrid were hoping to rout Alcoyano, a very unknown side in the third division of Spanish football. But fortunate for Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane, they were left red-faced once again. Very dismal performance for them. Militao had actually put them ahead, and they were hoping to coast along, but that did not happen. And ultimately, in the extra time of the game, in the 150 minutes, to be very precise, Alcoyano, for some particular reason, dug deep, or maybe wanted it the most, and they got the victory on the day. Now, Zidane is actually walking on eggshells, and there are talks that if he doesn't improve his performance in the coming days, he might be shown the door out of Real Madrid very, very soon. Now, let's go to Cristiano Ronaldo. We've been speaking about him and his records at Juventus and all other clubs. Yesterday, he became the all-time leading goal scorer in footballing history with his 760th goal in that particular Super Copa final against SSC Napoli yesterday. And when you look at it, he had actually overtaken the Austrian Czech man Joseph Bican, who had 759. Although it's still in the air because two Brazilians, Romario and Pelé, are claiming they have over 1,000 goals, but some of these goals were in friendly matches, were in roadside matches, and they are claiming some of them will not count. And also, because of the timing, most of these matches were not really recorded, but at the moment, based on statistics available, Cristiano Ronaldo can claim to be the man with the highest number of goals in the world at the moment. Now, moving away from Cristiano Ronaldo, let's turn our attention to tennis right now. Novak Djokovic has been left to apologize because he actually wrote a letter calling for better condition for players who are self-isolating in Melbourne. And he says those letters were written with good intentions, and should not be construed as selfish and ungrateful. Djokovic has been heavily criticized by the Australian Open tournament director, Craig Tiley, for what he termed very, very unnecessary letter. So we're still watching that. What has happened, these things are bound to happen. But what has happened is only expected, understanding that players are not too used to what we're seeing right now. And the Australian organizers are very strict with some of these particular isolations and how the players are maintaining this isolation leading up to that particular tournament. The tournament will be kicking off on the 8th, and let's see how it goes. Now, that picture actually shows, talking about the festival, the National Sports Festival that has been postponed, repostponed, and this time around on the 14th of February, we are expecting that the tournament will kick off in Edo State, and the governments are signaling that they are ready to host the very best of the best when it comes to sports here in Nigeria.
Right, amazing times for Manchester United. To me, I don't know why. I have this feeling, Aaron, and I have to tell you this morning, I have a feeling that United might just win the league, and I'm underlining that. And it will be good to see the Reds touch the cup once again. I mean, the Premiership is beginning to pan out. It's beginning to be the crunch time. If they can sustain this to about the end of February into March, I don't see how it's going to be taken away from them. But I must repeat, it's still very tight, too close to call, I should say.
Too close to call, I must say.
Too close to call.
Well, very quickly, I think that the big revelation for Manchester United is Paul Pogba, who has managed to reinvent himself. For months, he was more or less written off, but even the match yesterday, he was clearly the matchmaker. And if he can sustain that fire, that would show a good justification for the money that was spent on him. As for the National Sports Festival, yes, we've been on this for more than a year, postponed, repostponed, and now back on the table as you talked about. But shouldn't we probably just cancel the National Sports Festival for this year? I know that Edo State government has invested a lot in it, but you are talking about 720 athletes and officials. Now, do we have the infrastructure in place at the time when there is a second wave? And it's the same argument for the Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah.
The Australian Open, so many problems with it. Should we even be talking about the Tokyo Olympics? If there are certain sporting tournaments that should be cancelled, I think the various federations, whether athletics or otherwise, should not hesitate in cancelling them. That's my view.
Right. Thank you so much, Aaron. Really appreciate you.